Hey guys, welcome to Getting Started with EveryDollar. When creating your budget, always start with the income first. It's very important to account for every dollar you bring in for the entire month. And we're only going to account for actual take-home pay, not your gross income. You'll see that as we add each paycheck, the left to budget amount will continue to update. The goal will be to get that $4,500 left to budget down to zero. That happens when you give every dollar of your income a name across the budget groups. Now that all of our income is added, let's start planning where that income will go. So let's start off with the giving section. We'll do charity at 10%, which is $450. Now you'll notice on the right side, as you enter these planned amounts, there will actually be an update to the total amount planned, and then it'll show percentages as well. Let's continue to add in all the planned amounts for the rest of your budget groups. Here's a little tip. If you're not sure what to enter for the budget groups, you can pull up your bank statement and look through the last 30 days and get a really good estimate of what you've spent in that particular category. Now, I highly recommend doing this for budget groups like groceries and restaurants. A lot of times, people aren't exactly sure how much is going into those. And if you're not living on a budget, these are the two categories that people tend to overspend on the most. You may or you may not need to enter the planned amount for your health insurance, because if your health insurance cost is deducted from your paycheck, you don't need to account for it in your budget. Now, if it isn't deducted from your paycheck, then you'll want to make sure to add it here. The miscellaneous is a great budget group for first-time budgeters, as you're going to see that some expenses will come up that you didn't think about prior to creating your monthly budgets. It's also good in the long term for those rare expenses that may not need a dedicated budget group. Okay, guys, make sure not to use the miscellaneous group as a place that catches all of your bad spending habits. That's not going to be good for you or your budget. EveryDollar gives you a template of the most common budget groups, but you can completely customize your budget by adding some budget groups or deleting budget groups that may not apply for you. For example, let's say you have a dog. Now, a dog could likely have a dedicated budget group because you have to plan for food, vaccinations, and possibly training. You can delete budget groups and budget items easily by selecting the trash can icon. A great example would be what we talked about earlier with health insurance. Delete it if it does not apply to you. At this point, we have gone through the budget and entered a planned amount for every budget item. But it looks like we've gone over. So this needs to be at zero in order for us to have an EveryDollar budget. Revisit your budget groups and see what you can cut back in order to have that to be at zero. Now, let's say the opposite is true, which means you would have money left to budget after you've budgeted across your budget groups. The same thing holds true. You need to get that left to budget amount to zero. It's your job to decide where the extra money goes. If you're building up an emergency fund, then put that extra cash there. Okay, now you have successfully created an EveryDollar budget. Okay, guys, while this was a great first step, just simply planning where all your money goes before the beginning of the month, it isn't enough. Remember what we said earlier. You have to track your spending against your budget. So what we're going to do now is create a transaction to track against your budget. Let's say you go to the grocery store to buy food for the week ahead. We're going to change the date and then add the actual amount spent. Once you've finished with that, you're going to hit save and it's going to appear in the right-hand column. Simply drag and drop that transaction to the appropriate budget item that it belongs to. In this case, groceries. Now, if you're like me, sometimes you buy more than just groceries at the store. So let's say at a recent purchase, you got groceries, dog food, and maybe balloons and a fruit basket as a gift for a friend. This transaction could be split across 3 budget items: groceries, pet, and miscellaneous. Once you've selected those, click the blue button at the bottom. You can now enter the actual amounts for each category. For groceries, let's enter $25. For pet, let's do $15. And for miscellaneous, let's do $20. You can hit Save Change, and the transaction has been split. Anytime you want to see your transactions, go to Tracked, and you'll see 3 different budget items that it falls in. If you want to spend less time tracking transactions, check out EveryDollar Plus. This is the premium version of EveryDollar. With EveryDollar Plus, once you connect your bank accounts, transactions will show up in EveryDollar as soon as they post them to your bank. All you have to do is sign in and just drag and drop to the appropriate budget group. This makes it so easy to track your transactions in less than a minute a day. If you've not used Plus yet, go to Settings and get your free trial. As you're tracking your transactions against your budget, you will notice that your spent and remaining balances for each budget item will update. This is a great way for you to know if your actual spending is aligning with what you've planned for and to make adjustments as needed. If you don't track your spending, you will have no way of knowing where you're at with your money. So, for example, let's say you budget $300 for restaurants. As you track your spending throughout the month, you might see that you've spent $225 and you're only halfway through the month. No need to freak out. Since you're tracking regularly, you can adjust your behavior so that you can stay within the $300. If you don't track your transactions throughout the month, you could easily overspend in restaurants. Now, hear me out. No one is perfect. There are going to be times that you overspend, but don't beat yourself up about it. Just learn from it and move on. In some cases, you might be able to cut in one budget group in order to splurge in another. Let's say, for example, you ended up spending $375 for the month at restaurants. That's $75 more than what you planned. Check to see if there's a different budget group that can be reduced by $75. So let's take $50 from groceries and $25 from transportation. There will be some months that are more expensive than others. For example, when you go on vacation or when Christmas comes around. These are types of expenses it is best to create a fund and save money each month. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say you're planning for a vacation 4 months from now. Go ahead and enter a budget item of vacation, and let's do planned around $500. Once it's created, click on the vacation section. You'll see a card that appears to the right. Click on Make This a Fund, and then click the toggle. You'll now be able to enter your final savings goal, and if it's the current month, the starting balance. Hit Save, and you'll now see the fund balance is $0, but you've budgeted $500 for this month, and you've spent $0. So your balance is $500. As you continue to budget each month, that balance will grow, and it will not be long till you can pay for that saved vacation in cash. So throughout this webinar, we've shown you how to budget in EveryDollar from your desktop, but you may not have known that you can budget from your phone as well. The EveryDollar mobile apps for iPhone and Android make it easy for you to stay on top of your budget regardless of where you are. Not only can you track your transactions from your phone, but you can also quickly and easily edit individual budget items. All right, guys, that's it for today. Please continue to ask our team as many questions as you need. We are here to help you win with money.